Good evening and welcome back, the Golden Age. Time, in the ages after creation, no longer hurried. It did not rush as it once had, spilling forward in violent surges of entropy and fire. It did not claw at existence with hunger. Instead, time learned to breathe. It learned to drift. It learned to stretch itself thin across eternity, like warm light upon still water. Eons had passed since the first thought awakened the universe. Eons since chaos had screamed its first breath. And in those immeasurable spans, Euron, the light that kindled form, and Noctaris, the shadow that gave shape to rest, had labored in silence. Together they unmade the scars of old wars and rewove the torn fabric of reality. Where fractures once bled void, harmony now settled like dust after a storm. This era would later be remembered as the Golden Age. Not because it was without darkness, but because darkness at last had learned its place. The new galaxies unfurled slowly, deliberately, like dreams that did not wish to end. They were not born screaming into existence. They were sung into being, note by note, vibration by vibration, until their harmonies found balance. Among them drifted the Crystal Nebula. It stretched across millions of light years, an ocean of refracted brilliance suspended in the deep black. From afar, it appeared like frozen lightning trapped within translucent clouds. Up close, it was something far more intimate. Vast crystalline structures, some no larger than dust, others the size of moons, floated gently within glowing mists of ionized starlight. Each crystal carried a faint internal luminescence, pulsing slowly, as if breathing in unison with the universe itself. Light entering the crystal nebula fractured endlessly, splitting into spectrums that layered upon one another. Colors unknown to earlier epochs shimmered there, soft ultraviolets that felt cool to the mind, deep ambers that resonated like distant bells, pale blues that seemed to hum with memory. Even silence changed within the nebula. It was not absence but presence, a velvet hush filled with subtle resonance. Travelers, had there been any who required breath or thought, would have felt their awareness slow upon entering. Not from fear, but from wonder so vast it demanded stillness. Nearby flowed the river of stars. It was not a river in the way primitive worlds imagined water, but the name endured, because no other word could contain it. A continuous stream of newborn stars flowed along a gravitational current, so ancient and precise, it curved like a calligrapher's stroke across the void. Each star was cradled within glowing plasma, drifting gently, never colliding, never rushing. They glided as if guided by unseen hands, following paths written before matter knew how to burn. The river glowed with soft gold and white fire. Occasionally, a star would flare slightly brighter than the rest, like a thought briefly remembered, before settling back into the gentle procession. The surrounding space was warm, not with heat but with reassurance. The universe here felt complete. Between these wonders and countless others, spiral galaxies like jeweled crowns, dark matter gardens humming beneath perception, horizons of space that curved inward like resting eyelids, peace endured. The tone shifts, the warmth vanishes, replaced by a heavy gravity. And yet, at the center of all things that were kept, there was a place where peace did not wander freely. The Abyssal Fold. It was not a wound anymore. Once, long ago, it had been a rupture so severe that reality recoiled from it, bending inward upon itself in terror. It had been the place where Vortharos, the unshaped, had clawed against existence, where form had failed and sound had screamed until even light feared to travel. Now, the fold was sealed, not erased, not healed, contained. Space curved inward there, folding like layers of dark silk drawn tightly together. No stars burned nearby. No nebula dared drift too close. Light approached cautiously, slowed, bent and dimmed, as if instinctively lowering its voice. Surrounding the Abyssal Fold stood the Sentinels. 12 of them. They were not machines, though they were constructs. They were not alive, though awareness lingered within them like embers beneath stone. Each sentinel stood colossal beyond scale, larger than moons, taller than planets could ever rise. They formed a perfect circle around the fold, equidistant, eternally still. Their bodies were forged from starlight and obsidian. not layered or fused, but interwoven at a fundamental level. Obsidian darkness drank the surrounding void, while veins of condensed starlight traced slow, constant patterns across their forms, constellations moving beneath black glass skin. Their surfaces reflected nothing accurately. Light fractured upon them, as if reality itself was unsure how to perceive such beings. Each sentinel held a different posture. Some stood with hands folded, others with arms lowered at their sides, others with palms open toward the fold. None moved, none spoke, none slept. They did not need to. They remembered. At the heart of the circle lay the gate. It was not a door, it was not a wall. It was a compression of existence, so dense that even meaning struggled to pass through. The gate sealed Vortharos within the deepest layers of the Abyssal Fold, beyond dimensions, beyond time, bound by laws rewritten specifically to deny its nature. The Sentinels were not merely guards, they were anchors, the voice focuses becoming sharper. Among them stood Kaelus. He stood closest to the gate, nearer than any other sentinel, his massive form positioned where the fold's gravitational whisper was strongest. If danger were ever to return, if the impossible were ever to stir, it would reach Kaelus first. Kaelus was forged with purpose woven deeply into his being. His obsidian surface was darker than the others, absorbing even starlight, while the luminous veins within him glowed with a steady, dignified gold. They traced ancient geometric patterns across his chest, shoulders, and face, symbols of loyalty, vigilance, and eternal watch. Though he did not move, Kaelus perceived. He felt the universe the way mountains feel the wind, not as motion, but as pressure, as presence, as time passing across him. He sensed the slow migration of galaxies. He sensed the quiet pulse of the crystal nebula far beyond his station. He sensed the river of stars continuing its endless flow. All was as it should be. Pride rested within Kaelus, not sharp or boastful but vast and calm. He had been created for this purpose, and in the fulfillment of it he knew contentment. To stand, to guard, to endure, to ensure that what had once nearly unmade everything would never again whisper its chaos into the cosmos. Euron's light lingered within him, not as flame but as clarity. Nocturus's shadow lingered too, granting patience, restraint, and the understanding of stillness. Kaelus embodied the union of both, a silent promise that balance would not fail again. Ages passed. Stars were born and died in the time it took Kaelus to complete a single thought. Civilizations rose on distant worlds, gazed at the sky, and vanished into dust without ever knowing how close annihilation had once come. The universe breathed in and out, endlessly, softly. The Sentinels did not tire. They did not question. Silence reigned, not empty but layered. The hum of space-time, the low vibration of dark matter currents, the faint resonance of the gate itself, a pressure so constant